1v1 a Leviathan Hive. Blue side, it's NodNerb, also known as OddNerd, plays a Hive Tyrant, very durable commander, will shoot objects and cannot be suppressed when powerful offense, disruption and support begins in melee combat with a basic synapse. Up against red side, the Great Cornholio as a Chaos Sorcerer, offensive and disruptive commander, lots of manipulation and control abilities, begins in melee combat and can hurt you quite a lot too. 2.7 then. I want to see some of the new Warrior Brood stuff. They now have this Thorax Swarm ability, which sounds pretty cool. Maybe we'll see it, maybe not. Some Chaos Space Marines up for the Great Cornholio and OddNerd with double Termagants. I guess we'll see Havocs from Cornholio. Not a lot of Chaos changes in 2.7. A lot of them, though, for the Sorcerer, mostly buffs from what I can remember. In fact, let me bring up what the changes were while we see this early game capping going on. Okay, so his consume went up to giving him 40 health to 100, which is pretty good. His demonic shield cooldown reduced, but the duration of demonic shield also reduced. His warp fire energy cost reduced. His warp rift cooldown reduced. His curse of Tzeentch range increased, and he can now retreat while he's using subjugation. So some nice changes for the Sorcerer there. Hive Tyrant also got a bunch of changes. He's now back up to 4.5 speed, which means his Crushing Claws went back up to 50 power in cost. A bunch of his other war gear adjusted too. Some buffs and nerfs here and there. One thing I noticed is that his Seismic Roar is now a 60 energy cost ability, which is a big change because it means a level 2 Hive Tyrant can't use the charge into the Seismic Roar. He doesn't have the energy to do so at 110. He needs 120. So that's a pretty big change. His Heretics are in trouble unless they get an Aspiring Champion. There he goes. There's that Aspiring Champion. The Hive Tyrant's such a pain in the ass in first engagements against power armored factions because they can tie up those CSM or those Tactical Marines or those Strike Squad guys and stop them being effective. That's a decent opening for Cornholio. Did not drop a CSM model, but did drop a whole bunch of Heretics, but they're like 11 requisition to reinforce, and killed some little Tyranid fellas. I think he got 4 Termagants all in all and 3 of the Hormagaunts. If we do see a Havoc squad, which I assume we will, I mean, in a 3v3, the way to fight a Hive Tyrant as Chaos, I find, is to get 2 Havoc squads, which means he's going to get Zone Thropes, which means you get Bloodletters, and you just try and outplay him there. And it is Havocs, which I guess means Ravener Brood from OddNerd, which in turn means we might not see a Warrior Brood, but he might be here to kind of try out Warrior Brood stuff. I hope, because I want to see that Thorax Swarm, but you never know. He might deny me. Where are those Havocs at? Here they are. 2-to-1 cap early on for NodNerb. That was a late cap on that power. I think he had them idle near it and misclick or whatever. Termagants with those Toxin Sacks. So is he even going to try and get those Heretics into combat with those guys? Or is he going to try and swarm that Hive Tyrant and take him down? Because if without the Seismic Roar, he can be overwhelmed by those early melee squads. Much like every level 1 hero, I guess. We do see the Sword of Flame on the Sorcerer, so he can put that coruscating flame down on something and do some work. Does a damage over time as well. Havoc's being chased down here though, and here comes some Hormagaunts, and they do have their adrenal glands, but there we see the coruscating flame on the Heretics, which gives them some damage resistance and some fire stuff going on. Do they get away? Looks like they'll be fine. Termagants in retreat path though. Are they going to shoot him down? Oh, they're trying to force melee combat, in fact. I think he should have just tried to shoot him down. Might have got another model. Nice special attack for the Hive Tyrant to get away. He's going to chase him down with damage over time from that Sword of Flame. He doesn't have his teleport though. If he had his teleport here, this would be a dead Hive Tyrant, but I think he'll be alright at 31 hit points. Yeah, it's okay. Double Termagant shooting up some power here. Cornholio, I think, doing the smart thing and splitting his power between both points. OddNerd, or NodNerb, whatever we're going to call him, is focusing on one with triple power up. Doom Bolts, CSM in retreat path 2, and Havoc suppressing. Most likely not going to bother reinforcing that Havoc model. Raptors on the way for the Great Cornholio. What is... Oh, he's gone for Ravenous. Okay. So the Raptors will be under threat by a leveled up Hive Tyrant if he gets some melee war gear. They could just try and avoid him. Go wait for the Hive Tyrant to walk in and then jump the termagants and shut him down. There's contested power now being shut up and hit up by Heretics. There's that aspiring champion with bolt pistol and chainsword, increasing the health of the Heretics, which in turn means that they do more damage with their Doom Blast, because Doom Blast now does a proportion of the Heretics' damage, which is a cool idea. The Zone Thropes now, of course, in 2.7 limited to 2, and their Focus Warp Blasting got reduced in damage. I mean, the amount of nerfs that Zone Thropes have gotten compared to retail is pretty unreal. Don't even have their snare anymore, which is one of the reasons why Warrior Brood got their Thorax Swarm, because Tyranids were seen as a little bit light in terms of anti-vehicle because they lack that snare. And since the Thorax Swarm needs to get a lot closer to use its snare than a Zone Thrope would, it's seen as a little bit more balanced, because inherently if you need to get closer to do something, there's a little more counterplay that can happen. Raptors are fine. Maybe lucky not to drop a model there. There's some Zinchi worship infiltrating this stuff. Sorcerer making good use of his consume, I think. Tier 2, I should say, for NodNerb. Cornholio is not far off going. In fact, he can go right now. He's floating as we stand. What do we have? 2 and 1. Yeah. Tyrant is pushing again now. Hive Tyrant at the forefront. Such a hard thing to stop with just a single Havoc squad. Could just charge it down, of course, if he had his extended carapace. Yeah, Cornholio talking about how the Hive Tyrant messes with your pathing. He's a big fella. He's an 11-foot alien. He's going to mess with your pathing. Havoc's down to 1 model. Could be dicey. If those termagants get a couple of volleys on him and the Hive Tyrant gets into melee as it retreats, that could be a dead Havoc squad. There's a Raptor jump. So good at shutting down that blob of range stuff with their suppression. It's got a decent range on that suppression. There's Coruscating Flame on the CSM, who then run away from the Hive Tyrant. That's a bit odd. You'd think he'd put it on the Heretics in that instance, but that's another lucky special attack into a retreat. How did he get that special? I guess he's level 2 against level 1 Heretics. That's probably the melee skill difference got him that special, but that is lucky. Ravener Brood start with their ranged weapons now, but they still have that fist icon. And there they are with the enhanced muscle coil, which gives them that improved melee icon, or powerful melee icon, whatever you want to call it. They will be detected by the Heretics if they're underground, I believe. That's how that works. Tier 2, both players. No Blood Crusher from Cornholio, which suggests he's going for a Mark of Khorne Dreadnought to mix it up. What about you? Oh, Hive Tyrant's got his Crushing Claws going. 108 heavy melee DPS with a very quick attack speed for this guy, so he's great in those sustained melee fights. What is this? Improved Synapse. Not something you see all that often, but it's a nice piece of war gear. Raptors jumping in, missing the Hormagaunts, who get away, taking some bolt pistol shots, but they'll be alright. Here we see that Dreadnought on the way, and look at this, Genestealer Brood can get their Rending Claws up in Tier 2, of course, and in 2.7 they will infiltrate after being idle for just 2 seconds rather than 4, which is pretty useful. Pretty great on this map, actually, since you can take this natural VP away from Cornholio and park your Genestealers there ready to pounce on whatever comes to cap it. There's that Circle of Summoning thing. Usually you'll see it used as a reinforcement platform in a big engagement, but here he's just using it to defend. And does a good job. Ravener's lucky to get away with 3 models there. But here's that Hive Tyrant, and he is kitted out. Psychic Scream, Improved Synapse, and Crushing Claws. Something happened to Psychic Scream, I think. Let me see if I can look at what it is quickly, while we see the Hive Tyrant chase away that Chaos Sorcerer. No, there's no change to Psychic Scream. It has got a few buffs along the way over the years. 30% damage debuff. I think it's 15 seconds it lasts. It's pretty good in big fights. Well, these fellas are now idle. Oh, there it goes. He's going to bash out. It's going to be the end of that generator. Might be able to bash all of it. Still has 2 generators over here, though. Raptors in retreat, as are those CSM. That was just recapped, so I guess they bashed this. Needs to node it up. And here comes the Mark of Khorne Chaos Dreadnought. 100 heavy melee DPS, as you can see, with a 40 splash. That is 40 per hit, I believe. And they get a nice health buff, and of course, since he's the Sorcerer, he can teleport that thing out of trouble with his warp. Although, does he have the red to do it right now? I don't think he does. I always forget how much red warp is, but I believe it's like 100 or something. So the next big fight to be really dicey for the Tyranid player unless he gets his Venom Brood up now. Oh, Chains of Torment on the Hormagaunts. They'll be alright, but the Dreadnought's going to get some hits in. Boom! Took like 2 models of 1 hit there. Sorcerer hits level 2 finally. Hive Tyrant is a little ways through level 2. Oh, here the Gene Stealers. Bad fight for the Raptors. There's Adrenal Rush too. They do have their Rending Claws also. Knocking those guys around. These guys start with 80 melee skill, Gene Stealers, and if you have Warrior Brood around with Adrenal Glands and Melee Synapse, they go up to 90 melee skill. It's pretty scary. Venom Brood on the way. So he's got some stuff to fight this Dreadnought with. He can send the Gene Stealers in on it. That'll be a big risk though, with melee resistance on this guy and Blood Rage. Those Gene Stealers won't last too long. He does have improved Synapse, of course, which will benefit those Gene Stealers. 25% more health, I think. Yep. Dreadnought going after power. Not taking down his Capillary Tower. 447 to 316 on the VPs. Some decent armies in play from both players here. Looks like NodNerb is heading up this south side. Going to fight some Mark of Khorne CSM. Ravener Brooder in there. They do have power melee. And Hormagaunts bringing up the rear with some leaping and biting action. Are these guys going to be alright? Down to 200 hit points. Wow, they lost health really fast, but they're okay. I believe they are okay. Cornholio happy to decap this power. Steal it and node it. That would be pretty annoying. Although he'll be able to take it back pretty quickly with Venom Brood. Raptors now moving in with their aspiring champion. Gives them a Melter Pistol and a Power Fist. He's a pretty damn good squad leader, that fella. Way better than he used to be. When he used to have that awkward hammer with that ability nobody used. They still have that ability, right? Demonic Strength or something. But generally you want to save your energy for jumps with Raptors, since they have a 60 energy jump, I believe. So that can be pretty dicey. Oh, Dark Flames, nicely done. Combined with the suppression of the Raptors there. But here comes some Gene Stealers. And they don't want to fight him. They really don't want to fight him. There's a retreat. Gene Stealers will rip them apart. They can rip apart a Nob squad, I think. If they have melee Synapse, they will deal with a Nob squad pretty nicely because of that crazy melee skill. They'd knock them around. Would depend on level and support around them and all that stuff. Hive Tyrant trying to fight the Dreadnought. Didn't work out too great for him. Runs away. 1-to-1 cap now. Decent VP lead for the Tyranid player. But Cornholio, oh, he's getting path blocked by his own Dreadnought. He's not capping over here. Wants to bash power. No, he's got this power. He has stolen this power. He's not capping this VP for some reason. Is he deciding whether he's going to come and defend instead? Is the Sorcerer now going to cap it? No, he's not capping that VP. He's tier 3 though. What's he gone tier 3 for? Want to tank out? I may want to tank out. He has a lot of power though. Could save up for a Great and Clean one or something. I'm not sure how that would do on this pretty elongated map, but could give it a go, especially since he can warp it out of trouble. Could be a good way to go. Power being bashed very quickly now with upgraded Termagants and Rain Synapse Venom Brood alongside them. Power is going down fast. Cornholio getting his VP back. He did actually cap NodNerb in the end. Let's just call him NodNerb because NodNerb is tricky to say. Tyrant still level 2. What about the Sorcerer? He's also level 2. He's caught up in XP though. Yeah, he's saving up for something. Got 177 power. He's not far off getting that great and clean one. Just needs a bunch more requisition. Might see a big army on army clash here. Meeting in the middle. You don't have an aspiring champion yet. Chaos Space Marines. The Raptors sure do. But they'll be a prime target for the Hive Tyrant just to go mental in melee on them. Gene Stealer's there infiltrating. 2-to-1 cap now for the Great Cornholio. Has both of those natural victory points. Still has this power too of 2 generators on it. Has got so much power. Has now found this other gen farm. And he's going to smack it with his sword. There we go. Does the damage over time work? It looks like it is. It does work on the structures. Ravener Brood down to 2 models here. Is he going to defend with everything? Looks like he is maybe. Yeah, Cornholio's kind of split up here though. The Dreadnought is joining things. Havoc's setting up. Needs to get a little bit closer maybe. They're firing up here. Yeah, might want to get a little bit closer. Gonna start taking shots at that Hive Tyrant. No. Can't suppress him of course. He's going straight for the Dreadnought again. That's a bad fight for you, Mr. Hive Tyrant. Look how quickly he's going to go down. And does go down. I think it was the underslung twin link bolter that finished him off there. Bad fight for you to take. Gene Stealers are pretty low here. I assume they've used their Adrenal Rush already. Getting very low. Needs to be careful with these Gene Stealers. Trying to chase down those Raptors. There's the mass retreat from NodNerb. 385-271. Good use of his heretics there. Didn't get them stuck into a fight where they'd lose easily, and then he couldn't use his worship and stuff. Don't always want to be super aggressive with your heretics. Here's Raveners to cap. They're pretty quick. Oh, Cornholio's lost. I lost his Havocs. Did not even notice that. I guess that's the remains of them there. Maybe that was the Raveners. 366-271. It's a single cap for Cornholio. He's going to get the contested though. But will he get it before the Raveners? It looks like he might. With a very, very brief double cap. CSM have done well in this melee state without their aspiring champion. Level 2 now. Great Unclean One is on the way for the Great Cornholio. Tyranid is looking pretty scary though. He's not tier 3 yet. He needs a bunch more requisition for that. He is bleeding pretty hard each fight. Ravenous now patrolling that south side, getting to that natural VP of Cornholio. He's going to get a 2-to-1 here maybe. 339-271. Defense on the way. It's Raptors with a jump. Ravenous don't want to fight that and they run off. They did get a decap though. That's worth something. Contested now turning blue. Cornholio backing off and knowing that his army's split. Doesn't want to fight. And Raptors, yeah, go straight after the natural over here. Why not? CSM can cap this. Tier 3, 4 NodNerb. Great and Clean One though is on the field. Super unit for Chaos. Passively damages nearby enemies and has some nasty abilities. Good single target damage too. It's a demon, so benefits greatly from worship. Cornholio still has his level 2 heretics around. Nice jump in from the Raptors. Hormagaunts are there though, and those guys will hurt you. And they do have their endless swarm upgrades, so up to 10 models potentially. It's a lot of pain. Bad choice to engage with his CSM here, but it looks like they'll be okay. Yeah, there's a change to save them in case they needed it. They might have needed it. Did he put Coruscating Flame on himself there? I don't think he did. Just a weird little Sorcerer animation. I still think the Sorcerer's attack animations are really bad. I mean, who uses a sword like that? Very bizarre. Has he seen the Great and Clean One yet? Oh yeah, he has. 5 times running the hell away from it. Such an awesome model on this guy. And the animation, the skin over the spine there is pretty cool. Based on the Forge World miniature, of course, because the Games Workshop miniature is not nearly as cool. I don't think that guy gets coloured by your army scheme. Maybe he does. shrine going up. That'll be a Tzeentch shrine shooting out doom bolts. That is some Ravenous underground. Being spotted by the heretics though, so they're taking shots. They're going for that VP. Some repairs for the Dreadnought. It's very high up, this Dreadnought, and he can't call it out of trouble if he's also there. Great Unclean just taking shots from the Venom Brood. Not a whole lot of damage being done though, as you can see. I guess it's a decent amount of damage. Yeah. Just that he has so much health. Over 6,000, of course. Hive Tyrant still level 2. Sorcerer is almost level 4. He's really struggled since that Dreadnought hit the field. He's struggled to have a big impact here. Might have been better off waiting and going for the Venom Cannon, because it's a pretty popular choice to get a Mark of Khorne Dreadnought for a Sorcerer. Ravener Brood are taken out. Combination of the Raptors and the CSM, I guess. Level 3 Raptors here. Another Tzeentch Shrine is camping on NodNerb's VP with some nasty stuff. He's still not taking out this Capillary Tower though. What is up with that? Get some decent XP off taking him out, and some red, of course. 317261. Another Capillary Tower right here that he's not taking out. Very odd. I don't think they cost you any population. What is this guy doing? Another Capillary Tower here, not taken out. Gonna get a cap. Yep. Swing around, maybe decap this fully matured rec point too. Looks like he doesn't want to split off and go for the contested here. He's happy to hold this south side. Swarmlord on the way for NodNerb, and he does have the red for... No, he doesn't. Very nearly has the red for the Toronto formation. Double Termagants are gonna have a look at this VP. Got some CSM to fight. There are some Hormagaunts, and they're gonna be dangerous. They need to retreat. There we go. Gonna get a decap at least, I think. What is this? Oh, Sorcerer's getting a decap on the power again. Stealing a lot of power. Swarmlord's 3/4 of the way done. There's a jump from the Raptors, but Hormagaunts are there. But here comes a Dreadnought also. The damage there on the Raptors, but the Hormagaunts can't stay in that fight for long. And they might go down in retreat, of course. Doom Blast, not quite enough to finish him off. No. Here's that Great Unclean one though. 275 to 261, very even on VPs, and the Swarmlord hits the field. Now the Swarmlord alongside the Hive Tyrant, that's a tough fight for the Chaos Dreadnought. This guy does around about 100 DPS, I assume. I actually don't know how much DPS the Swarmlord does these days. He got some changes in 2.7. I believe his Leech Essence now heals him for less, but his Blade Flurry thing costs less energy. I think the Leech Essence now costs more energy as well. Going after that Dreadnought. Venom Brood not tied up by the Raptors. They're going for the Gene Stealers instead. Dreadnought now with Blood Rage. Swarmlord swaps target. There's the Leech Essence healing it up, but this is a bad engagement for the Dreadnought if the Hive Tyrant goes onto it as well. Venom Brood are off the field though, so it looks like it'll be okay. Swarmlord now backing off, in fact. So is the Hive Tyrant, and so are these fellas. Mark of Tzeentch Predator, I guess is this going to be? Yep, there it is. That's direct response to that Swarmlord. 210, 261. Does he have the red now? He must. Yes, he does have the red for Toronto formation. Really help him though. It's not going to help him fight a Great Unclean one, really. I mean, the Spires do decent damage, so if he locks this Dreadnought into combat, he could use it to finish it off maybe. Or just do a big chunk of hit points. They finally have their aspiring champion at level 3. He has a Melter Pistol, which is pretty useful. Here comes that Predator tank. Wow, took out 2 Hormagaunts with the single shot of his twin-linked las cannon. 160, 261. Pretty consistent las cannon hits there. NodNerb has a lot of requisition, but Look at his power income. It's nowhere. Why is he not taking this back? And Cornholio really didn't hit those Capillary Towers at all. There we go. He's destroyed one. 148 to 261. Getting pretty close. I mean, one big engagement could be the end of this. Okay, this is an important fight. Can he get this Dreadnought out of here? Because there's Gene Stealers, there's a Swarm Lord, there's Venom Brood, and the Hive Tyrant. This is a dead Dreadnought, you would think. He needs to tie up those Venom Brood. Venom Brood are actually off the field, but this is still bad for the Dreadnought. Can he warp it out? Does he have the red to warp it out? I think he does. But he's not going to. Down goes the Dreadnought. Maybe the warp is more than I thought it is. But he did not use it there. 2-1 cap for the Great Cornholio though. That's that awesome Nurgly Vomit stuff. Gene Stealers need to retreat. There we go. Hive Tyrant might want to run away here too. Because that Swarm Lord needs some help. No, he's going to fight the CSM. Leech Essence doesn't do a lot when you're only surrounded by 4 units. I believe it does. It returns 2 health per tick for each model. It used to be 3. Down goes a Hive Tyrant. Wow, CSM dealt with him. That was pretty surprising. They are level 4 now though, probably. No, they're still level 3. There's a front of formation. Uses it to help finish off the tank, maybe. Yep, Venom Brood dealing with it. Down goes a Swarm Lord though. The tank did finish off the Swarm Lord. And that's a decent trade, I think. Cornholio now has tons of power. Could get another tank up. Why do you always get away, says Cornholio. No, it went down. Unless you're talking about something else. Sorcerer at level 5. He's got his Robes of Torment. We've seen that several times. Another tank on the way. Does he just go Mark of Corn now on his tank? Or wait, because there might be another Carnifex and stuff hitting the field. Brood Nest up. In base. Which is a little bit odd. It does give you a little bit more health regen, but not that much. Every little counts, I guess. More Venom Brood for NodNerb. It was pretty strange to see a Swarm Lord and a Great and Clean One out in a 1v1. But no sign of any Carnifexes yet. Just grabbing that contested. Great and Clean One needs some worshipping love. Down to almost half of his hit points. And that's going to take a hell of a long time to heal up unless he gets back to base. There's that Circle of Summoning again. He's used it to great effect a few times. And Great Unclean One joining in. There's his Nurgly Vomit. Misses everything though. But the Zinchi worship gets him infiltrated and he'll be fine. Just wanted to run in and hurl on stuff. There's a second Venom Brood. Doesn't need to get range synapse again, but it might be decent idea to get that redundancy because one might be forced off the field. We do have another Marco Zinch Predator tank. Wow, taking big shots at this Hive Tyrant here. 86 to 242, double cap for Cornholio. There's a 2-1, but it still could be the last passage of play that we see here. Oh, there's that foul snare. That was a bit weird. It didn't pull them towards the Great and Clean One. It just like threw them upwards. Is that what it does now? There's a big AoE stun on it as well, which is pretty nice. 1-1 cap. He has stopped the decay of VPs. Might even get a 2-1 here. Raptor's in trouble. Some repairs needed for this tank. It's not getting them. 70 to 242. There's the 2-1. I think it's going to be a pretty brief one though for OddNerd. It's got a lot of resources. Could get a Carnifex very soon and 600 requisition he needs. Get a Barb Strangler up or something. Control all this infantry. Although he might just get a Thorn back to go toe to toe with the Great and Clean One. They'd all be pretty useful. Doesn't look like he's getting one right now. What does he want then? Does he get a Neurothrope? Would do a hell of a lot of damage to the Great and Clean One and all this infantry. 70 to 235. A little bit underutilized that Neurothrope these days, especially in 3v3s I think, where it can do a massive amount of stuff. He's going for the Carnifex. 150 power for that thing. What does he put on it though? Can he get a decap? There's a capillary tower. Foul snare. And then taken out by some las cannons to the face. Surely he's not going to let it get decapped here. Vomit misses. There's the jump. That should help end this engagement. I don't think NodNerb would be smart to stay in this. But the Raptors have got a bit far in. And there are Gene Stealers right there, supported by a Brood Nest. Brood Nest not finished yet. Not sure what this Hive Tyrant is trying to do here. Scare off the tank, I guess, but he's just going to get himself in trouble, I think. Are you reinforcing? You are reinforcing. It's only 3 power to reinforce a Gene Stealer. That seems pretty cheap. 46 to 231. 2-to-1 cap for NodNerb. He's keeping the pressure on here. These double Venom Cannons now. Venom Broods, I should say. Now getting onto that Grand Clean one. Did a big burst of damage there. So where's his Carnifex? It's still at base. And what does it have? Nothing. Is it get it out here? Doesn't have a lot of VPs, and Cornholio is going full on his VP. Grand Clean one's kind of low. And he's taking shots out of double Venom Broods. And double Termagant's tanking some damage there. Oh, Gene Stealers are in there, that's why. Probably focusing on Gene Stealers. Getting a decap. There's his Carnifex. He's got Thornback going on. That'll be great against the Raptors and the CSM as well. Can charge onto them, stop this cap. Although they just run away. There's the Chains of Torment though. And the Circle of Summoning again. Doing some great work. Hive Tyrant's right off the field already. Thornback can take some big shots from the Predator tank. Need some support. Why are you guys backing away? Get in there. Forces the CSM off the field. Well, these guys should have been in this engagement a lot quicker, I think. Now they can shoot at the Grand Clean one. There's the foul snare though. Thornback's lost a lot of health already. Grand Clean one could be saved by the Sorcerer if he has the red. Don't think he does. Look at the damage the Thornback is taking though. Might need to get that guy out of there. 35 to 1-9, and it's a double cap for Cornholio. This is a vital engagement for NodNerb. Now going after the tank, but down goes the Carnifex. And he is walked out. I think he got the red from defeating the Carnifex to get that Grand Clean one out of there. Very, very clutch play there from Cornholio. That's probably the end of the game. It's a single cap. Oh, we might cap this in time. Maybe. 6 VPs remaining. Needs to start capping that as well to get the 2-to-1 up. He does take it. 2 VPs left. And he might get a triple cap here. He's going to take out his heretics on retreat. No. Gene Stealer's retreating. That's a bit of a mistake. Might have been able to finish off those guys before he retreated. But now we have a single cap for NodNerb. Still in this game. Lost his Carnifex, but he's still got a decent army. Although it's all tier 2 stuff. He did get the tank down, but here's another tank on the way for Great Cornholio. Some Zinch worship at base for the Grand Clean one to help heal him up faster. Triple cap now for NodNerb. Needs to defend the contested. Needs to have a presence of all 3, I feel like. Uh-oh. Cormagant's caught by the Chains of Torment. But they'll be alright. Termagants have done really well. Are they both level 4? They are both level 4. Must have killed a lot of stuff. Gene Stealer's moving in. Raptors don't like that at all. Might force them to retreat, which would be really good for NodNerb. Yeah, now they're off the field. One less thing to contest points with for now. NodNerb has a lot of resources again. Not quite enough to get a Carnifex, but I think get a Neurothroat out. Get one out. Won't do a lot against the tank, but everything else will be pretty useful against. Looks like he wants another Carnifex though, if he has the time to get one. Still a 2-to-1 cap for NodNerb. Cornholio going after his natural. Great and Clean one leading the line. There's another Brood Nest, but it's pretty far up. It's going to be taken down pretty quickly. Maybe not. Great and Clean One moving in all alone. That's the Cloud of Flies. Taking a lot of damage though. Foul Snare on the Venom Brood again. Oh, Dark Flames and that green disease stuff. Pretty nasty combo. Gene Stealers are going to fight some Heretics. Yeah, that's still the original Heretic squad, now level 4. But they are being munched by the Gene Stealers here. And they're going to go down if they're not careful, but there's the game in a way. 2-1 cap for Cornholio. Gives him the victory. Very close and a very enjoyable game. Got to see some end game stuff which you don't often see in a 1v1. Got the Great and Clean One out. Did a hell of a lot of work as well. Oddno just couldn't deal with it. Hive Tyrant only got level 4. I feel like he faded quite a lot. Kind of late tier 2 onwards. But it was still always, he's always a threat with those crushing claws. But having a Dreadnought around and then the Great and Clean One and then both of them for a little while was kind of hard for him. Level 7 Sorcerer. There you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time.